a podcast for creatives. On this week's episode of Take Aim Podcast, we are joined by Ghost, a Northern California culinary chef, photographer, film producer and director, and a lighting gaffer. Join us to learn a little bit more about life in the kitchen and life behind the scenes in theater and film. Please like and subscribe to catch new episodes each week on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Audible. I hope you enjoy this first episode of Take Aim Podcast. Thank you so much for
you're very welcome.
on the podcast. And I mean, from what I know about you, I know you're a director, I know you're a gaffer, I know you own Garage Studio, you run Casual Chef Kitchen, you've got your YouTube channel, you've got your group that is growing like so quickly, like what is it, about 700 or more members?
The Casual Chef group is just over 700 members.
Yeah, and it keeps growing.
My Garage Studio is closing on 1,600 members.
And so tell me a little bit more about Garage Studio, because I know, like what you do, but like what is all of that?
Well, Garage Studio started years and years and years ago, even before I came out here to California. It was under a different name. And it was just a small little, mostly a theater production company, where I was a lighting designer and set designer and set builder and so forth. And then approximately 20 years ago, I was working for Sacramento Theatrical Lighting, and they had a no compete clause. And so I couldn't technically have a lighting production company. So I'm also a photographer, and we decided, because I was already building a hot light studio in my garage, my wife named the company from what it was to what it is today, Garage Studio.
Nice.
So it was Garage Studio Photography.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I got away with the no compete clause with the company that I was working for at the time.
That makes sense. Hey, it's nice to have a woman around who can think for you, huh?
I love my wife dearly. We've been married 20 years, and yeah.
That's amazing. And so I'm really curious. I love knowing people's backstories, like how you got into things, or like what kind of sparked like your journey, like because you've been doing this for a while.
I've been doing both cooking and production work for well over 35 years. My cooking, I started because the holidays were really big around my parents' house, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. So I started to learn how to bake. My older sisters were the bakers in the family, and they went off to college. So I filled their slot in baking holiday cookies and holiday goodies. So, and if I wanted a juicy pork chop, because my mother is of that generation where you have to roast pork to death because of the trichinosis. If I wanted a juicy pork chop, or I'm not saying my mom's a bad cook. It's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course not.
But we're two different generations. So that's why I learned how to cook. And I've been cooking ever since, and my skills have just increased to the point where I am today, which is I am a French trained chef. And I went to American River College for my schooling, and I was already a personal chef before I went to school.
Wow.
So, and in the art side, and the other art side, the performing arts, I started playing trumpet in the 4th or 5th grade, because my siblings, I have 2 older sisters and an older brother, they were all in band as well. So I followed in their footsteps. And then in middle school, I kind of got the bug in theater.
Okay.
So I did both. So when I hit high school, I was in marching band, symphonic orchestra, and I was doing all the theater that I could. That's when I made probably my sophomore into my junior years, when I made a decision that I wanted to pursue theater as a career.
Okay.
because I enjoyed it so much. I had great teachers, great students that I worked with. I'm still friends with some of them today
That's
after all this time. So I was able to get a partial scholarship to Olivet College in Olivet, Michigan. It was a set design based on my set design
okay.
work, and from there it led me to the Air Force. So I came out here, and I've been following and working in the entertainment business ever since. So I really started working in the industry back in high school.
I was curious, what came first for you? Probably because I was thinking, like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Did the cooking come first or did the theater come first? And now that I'm thinking about it, as you've been talking, it's probably the cooking, right? Because I mean,
The cooking,
cooking.
they're really close,
Yeah.
but the cooking started first,
Okay.
and that was cooking to survive.
Yeah.
No, I mean I tease my mother quite a bit about this, and she doesn't know I tease her because she's in the Midwest, so she doesn't watch a lot of these interviews. But my mother's just from a generation where everything came out of a recipe book or a
Yeah.
recipe, card file.
Yeah.
I create food.
Ex-
I create recipes. When before I even today, this in my life right now, I sit down with a little black book. Sounds like a song from the Wall. My little black book, and I write down ingredients that I'm going to put together for the next meal or a meal in the future. So I have an extensive. One thing about my kitchen is it's very well equipped, and that took time.
yeah.
You can't just go out and buy a whole kitchen. It takes time. And plus, when my wife and I joined, as relationships, when we moved in together, we brought two kitchens together
Oh, yeah.
because my wife cooks. I call her the soup queen
Oh,
because
okay. Soups.
she's really good at soups. Um, so yes, I have a well-equipped kitchen. Plus, I also have an extensive spice and herb collection because I just don't go to your run-of-the-mill, supermarket and get my herbs and spices. Actually, I try not to get my herbs and spices from, let's say, Bel Air, Rayleigh's, Lucky's, or there. I go to the East Indian stores. I go to the Mexican stores. I source my
That.
I source my herbs and spices from various places. I'm looking for freshness. I'm looking for uniqueness. I'm looking for variety, and so forth.
I did follow one of your recipes on your YouTube channel, and it was the Southwestern night with the salmon and the rice. And my husband loved it. And I did,
Yay!
yeah, I know we loved it so much. But how you were talking about the spices, I noticed you had like Mexican oregano and these different ones that I haven't heard of before. I was like, there's other kinds of oregano? Like,
Right now, my wife and I just purchased our house. We just closed the house last week.
yes,
Closed on the house.
congratulations. That is so exciting.
And so one of the first things I did the first weekend, last weekend, is I planted an herb garden. I have three different oreganos. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Three different basils in my herb garden.
That is awesome.
And I know there's more because the one I don't have is Thai basil.
Oh, okay.
So you can't just go by what Schillings or McCormick is selling. There's a whole world of herbs and spices, especially herbs.
Do you notice that there's a big difference between the different basils, for different types of just different types of meals, like if there's is Mexican oregano better with Mexican food?
The oregano, the Mexican oregano is actually comes from Mexico. So you got to remember their soil is different. Their nutrients are different, which affects the plant. Where I like to call it an Italian oregano, what you would buy like in a McCormick, those are usually sourced here within the United States somewhere.
Okay.
So it's like I love the commercials that say we have sea salt. Which sea did it come from? Because every sea's solidity and minerals and everything that's in that sea is different. Red Sea is different than the Mediterranean Sea. And which part of the Mediterranean Sea are we talking about here? We're talking the Italian coast, French coast, Spanish coast, and not including the African coast.
Right.
So that's why I always laugh and I get really kind of angry. I'll admit, as you can tell, I'm real passionate about this. I get really irritated when people say sea salt and not explain it.
Yeah.
I probably have 10 different salts in my kitchen, and that does not include iodine salt and or kosher salt.
Oh man, I feel so uneducated. I'm gonna have to keep watching your videos.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. I did one yesterday. I did a live yesterday. It was broken up into three pieces. I did ribs last weekend, and I took basically the same rub and did it with a ribeye,
Okay.
and I pan seared it. And I did, two ribeyes, one for me, one for my wife Robin.
Yes.
And it was interesting to change because the cooking method was different. Low and slow on one and on the ribs, and hot and fast in oil for the steak. So the flavors were different, but the flavors were similar but different at the same time.
Got it, because they were cooked differently.
They were cooked differently.
Yeah, my husband, Josh, he is a big steak guy, so we are gonna have to watch that one too. Because, I mean, we're still learning. Like, I love food, and we really are trying to eat healthier and, really kind of know what we're gonna eat before it's the moment where we're like, okay, we need to eat something right now. You know
Right.
what I mean? So, like I'm just also starting to fall in love with cooking just by watching your
Oh,
videos.
thank you.
I,
Thank you.
I'm
That's
being
great to
inspired.
hear.
No, totally. And, even after we had that rice and that salmon, and it just, for me, my whole life, and my mom, gosh, she's an amazing cook. And I hope to someday to live up to her. But, in the meantime, I'm just still trying to figure everything out. And you make it so simple and so casual where I could just kind of follow along and like kind of take notes. And I love it. So we are fans over here.
Yay!
Yes.
Well, see, cooking for your generation and my generation is we have such vast resources. Whether it's the internet, our supermarkets are getting better. Like you go into a Whole Foods or a Nugget Market, we've got some of the best. Well, just because where we live, right here in the valley, we have some of the best product that man can buy.
Wow.
And I mean, when I started out, when I first got here with my first wife, God bless her soul, that we were on an airman salary. My first wife did work too, but we had very little money. I mean, we were eating macaroni salad for lunch and dinner for a
Yeah.
week, because we had no money. So it's like, okay, how can you change that up? What can we add or remove? And this is before I really learned. I mean, I was still in Midwest mentality.
Yeah.
So once I started going to the supermarkets and going, oh, what is that? What's this cilantro? So I didn't grow up with it. So this is why I offer classes or lessons. I offered lessons how to shop for herbs and spices.
People need that. I mean, like, we would need that, and we might be contacting you after this.
I would love to, and I don't charge for my lesson
Oh my goodness.
because I looked at them as field trips.
Yeah.
It's like we had a great field trip a couple months ago. It was to a restaurant supply store in Sacramento called Chef's Toys. It's not just for commercial kitchens to go in there and buy their equipment. Anybody can go in there and buy their equipment. It's it's got all the kitchen toys that you would ever want.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about the unitasker. I mean, borrowing a word from Alton Brown, unitasker gadgets. There's some of those because there's some unitaskers that work. But if you're looking for a new fry pan, non-stick, 12-inch, you
I
can
know,
buy the store
actually.
brand. You can buy the store brand for about $30. I have them. I use them, and I'm a chef.
Yeah.
Restaurant equipment, good restaurant equipment, lasts a long time, and
Oh,
it's reasonably priced.
okay.
So you're
Mhm.
young. If you're starting out, why wouldn't you shop at a place like Chef Toys when you're first starting out so you can save some money? It's like I have a young student. His name is Elliot. He's 12 years old. He's a phenom, is what he is. And he was using this little teeny tiny cutting board, for his prep work. So my wife and I and Elliot and his mom, we all met up at Chef Toys. He bought the same cutting board that I have, which is 18 by 24, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, it's a large board. And it's accompanied by John Booth, which they are world renowned known for their cutting board. He paid $75 his mom and dad paid $75 for this board. Well, if you would buy that at Sriratab or the other retail, double the price.
Wow.
It's worth taking from our area, the 45-minute drive, going down to Richards Boulevard and just perusing and letting your culinary creativeness just wander.
Wow, that sounds
It-
so fun too. And to be honest with you, I have been fighting with our cooking pans forever. Like every time I swear, even if it's a non-stick pan that I buy, it's like they swear that it's non-stick, and every single time somehow I get it to stick. I don't know how I do it. It's just I don't know.
I'd pay $1 to see that.
I know. Try the
Well,
butter, oil, but maybe I haven't found my magical pan yet.
but you'll find it, and I know it's out there. It's like I just had a question in the group last week. Somebody looking for inexpensive cast iron
Oh yeah.
Chef Toys.
All
You
right.
can get Lodge, and Chef Toys has multiple locations. It's not just in Sacramento,
Yeah.
but they carry Lodge um, cast iron. Sorry,
Uh-huh.
still early. Lodge cast iron for less than retail.
That is amazing. That's really cool.
So that's
Definitely check that out.
and if you're into your cocktails and stuff, you can find all the fun shakers and
Ooh.
all that kind of stuff. So it's restaurant barware. It's catering.
It's like the IKEA of cooking, right?
Bingo, that is best way to say it. You don't have to build it.
Yes. You don't have to assemble it.
So as you can see, I'm very passionate about food. I love
Yes.
food. I love creating food. I love preparing food. I love eating.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
mean, food is life, and without food, it's like if you're going to eat, and you're not, my wife and I are both trying to not eat out, or as we're trying to cut it down.
Us too.
As much as I would love to support the local restaurants and the owners, it's
It adds up.
it adds up. It costs money. It's not always the best food in practicality. So it's like last night when I cooked these fresh steaks, it was like I'm eating something that I know what's in it.
And that
So
feels
that's
good. You don't
that's
feel
what's
bad
good.
after you eat it. You're just like, I know what went in my body and I feel good about that.
I'm not trying to be philosophical about this. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Because I know vegans and vegetarians, I'm not picking on anybody, but vegans and vegetarians have this philosophy. Some of them have a philosophy.
Yeah.
My philosophy is if you eat good food, fresh ingredients, you're going to feel better.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel all bloated and because you've been packed with salt and a lot of other chemicals.
Yeah, additives and all sorts of stuff.
Right.
You don't know anymore. Whenever you buy
You
something,
don't.
you don't know.
So that's one of the reasons why I cook for myself and my family is because I know we always feel better. We always feel good after we have a home cooked meal
Yeah. And I
versus the restaurant.
after we had that meal, I'm telling you, we felt great. And like I did not feel guilty after I ate it. I felt like I felt like a real adult after I cooked that. I was like, man, like
And
this is
it's
so
and
nice.
it's so simple.
Yeah, it was. It was so simple. I was like, this was it. Okay, great.
You,
Like, let's do it again.
if you don't have parchment paper, you can use tinfoil. It's that simple. You know, I happen to have just you know a lot of parchment paper laying because when I do bake, I use parchment paper because it's easier on the pans and easier on the cookie, and so
Okay.
we always have parchment paper laying around.
Yeah.
But you can do not just salmon in paper in papito. You can do chicken. You can do pork. I don't know about steaks because you want that nice char on the steak.
Yeah.
But you can do other things in the papito, not just salmon.
That's good to know. Because I mean, I would just normally use like foil. And then when I saw the parchment paper, I was like, oh, okay. I wonder.
But yeah, you can use either one.
Mhm.
That's the beauty of it. If you don't have, let's say you go to cook tonight and you're going to do chicken in paper and you don't have the paper, you can use foil.
Yeah.
It's the same method. It's the same steaming, heat capturing method.
Got it.
It's what they call a method of cooking.
That makes sense. Yeah. So I'm curious, what do you when you do your videos, do you kind of just like throw together like, oh, like this is what I feel like, eating this week, and you kind of pick out like a food for your video, or is it just kind of like, well, this is what we're doing and then I'm just gonna show you guys?
Usually, the meal that I film, it's kind of a multi-part process. The meal that I cook is usually on a weekend. That way because that way, I work 7 days a week, so
Yeah.
I have no
Like
days
a
off.
busy guy.
Yeah, but that's usually the big meal for the week, where I'm going to spend a little bit more money on proteins or whatever. So, like I said, like I mentioned earlier in the episode, is I write out all my ingredients. One, do I have it, and make sure I use it.
Exactly.
So then I put it together, and in my head, in some of my earlier videos, you'll notice they're not as concise. They look a little scattered. So I have developed a process that I do to make these videos. So what people don't realize is I'm videoing when I'm actually cooking. This is not a cooking show. This is basically a recording of a live event.
Awesome.
There
Yeah.
are you'll notice in my earlier videos, even some of my current videos, there are people I make mistakes, and I'll call them out.
Always find them, huh?
I'll, I'll call them out too. Go, whoops, I screwed that up, or I forgot a spoon, or
Yeah.
So I don't. It's just myself. I don't have a crew. I don't have people prepping my food for me in little bowls. All the mise en place, which means getting things together, it's all me.
Yeah.
So basically, I record, and generally, it's like last night I had a technical glitch. I did the first part, which was making the blend, making the rub, and then I stopped. Then I went back. I came back to the live and showed how to rub it on this, get the rub on the steak. Then I stopped, and then later on, about an hour later, I came back and actually sauteed the steak.
Okay.
I lost my second piece.
Oh no.
So if you want to watch it, you're gonna have to
Oh,
search.
I have to now.
You're gonna have to search casual chef's kitchen. Almost said corner. 'Cause I just changed the name of the group,
You did, huh?
and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
So basically, then what I do is I bring the card back in, and then I edit it back all together so it looks like it's seamless.
Okay.
And then I republish it on in the group, and then I publish it in the YouTube channel.
And so you've been able to use kind of like all of your filming and directing and kind of skills in your lights probably for even
Yeah,
just for this project, for yourself. And I think that's really cool because I mean, I kind of feel like I relate to a little bit where I kind of do a little bit here and then I do a little bit here and I kind of have all these projects going on, but everything I've learned has helped me, to
right.
even just be like, where I'm at now with whatever I'm working on. Like anything that I've gone after in my past is now kind of coming all together for, what I want to use it for.
Whether it's cooking or me working on a film, producing, directing, or as a gaffer, you know, I'm hoping I'm making a difference in somebody's life somewhere.
You are. You are. You've got
Uh,
one person here.
Thank you. I've had some of the oddest jobs. I've been a used car salesman. Because when I was younger, when I was basically your age, I was going, when is it going to happen to me? When is it going to happen to me? And I did some of the, in my art, I did some of the weirdest jobs.
I bet,
And
huh?
just, well, you do things to make sure that you're still doing your work.
Yeah.
And it's not like a painter who can paint basically whenever they want, as long as they have the resources.
Hmm.
But with live entertainment and film, you have to wait for the next job that wants you.
Okay.
And that's why I produce and direct, is because I like to have my own projects that I'm always working on.
Exactly.
Usually, like I mentioned earlier, I work 7 days a week, and I don't work just 9 to 5. I'm up. I barely get up, but I get up. I'm just old and cranky. No, I get up. By 7:30 and 8 o'clock, I'm in the office. I might. What's beauty working for myself is I can wear t-shirt and shorts, and
Yep.
it's like working. I'm working from home. But my office. This is the room I'm in. This is my office. This is my room.
Yeah.
My wife comes in and visits. It's not like I'm not trying to say I'm in jail, but everything I do stems from in two places. What's going on here in my office, because this is where my favorite work is, and all that stuff. And so I have some equipment in here.
Yeah.
But then what's also going on out in my shop, aka my garage, that's where my main equipment is. My lighting for my gapping and grip work. So I spend time in both places. So I make sure I spend time each day going over whatever projects I've got going.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like I'm about ready to start filming a film called "Completely Loyal to Me."
Oh, okay.
Uh, it's a piece that was written by a friend of mine in Michigan, and then I'm producing and directing,
Nice.
and we start filming on May 15th.
Oh, wow. That's coming up here.
Yep,
Exciting.
about a month.
All right. And are you gonna, because you said he was in Michigan, is that happening in Michigan or is that happening?
No, it's going to be filmed right here in Sacramento.
Okay.
There's 3 locations technically. One's in the house where we shoot all the in the house scenes first, and then we have we'll be filming with a car, a '49 Buick. It's really pretty. And that's going to be done green screen. And then my wife Robin and I, we're going to go to the go to the coast, go to the West Coast. Of course, we're on the West Coast. We're going to go to the coast and film the stuff that's going to be on the green screen.
Oh, cool. That'll be fun.
And then there's one more location. It's a interior, another small interior, which um, I still haven't found a location for that yet. I'm working on it.
But
There's always something. There's always something working, like props and wardrobe and
yeah, like
you know,
what is all that stuff? Because I mean, people like me, like I'm not in the industry, so I have, no idea all the work that goes into a project like that. Like, do you have like, I don't know, like checklists? Is there things,
oh, there's
are they just kind of like coming in from like all over the place and just how do you manage that?
a lot of paper. You know, well, it honestly, I also use computer software where I can input the script and it'll break down and takes all the characters out, and so it gives me a list of everything. And then I have great people like when it comes to the props or the properties, things that you see, like the pencils and the pens and wine glasses and wine bottles and stuff like that. Those are all props. Those all have to be gathered or bought or borrowed or stolen. Whoops.
Yeah.
There's a saying. There's a saying in community theater: beg, borrow, and steal.
You do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. So I don't do it all on my own. I have a crew and I have a staff, a very small staff that's what they do. They're in charge of going through the script. What props do we need for this film?
Mhm.
And then we work together to locate and acquire these props. Like I've already worked with all the cast members, the cast and I like doing wardrobe, especially for because this is a period piece. This is in the early 50s.
Oh, okay.
So I've worked with all the cast members, on their wardrobe and so it's been a lot of fun. Or typically you would have a wardrobe person.
Got it.
So there's a lot of paperwork, and I said with this software, it really helps me coordinate and bring everything together for filming. It's a lot of checklists, a lot of paper, a lot of photos, a lot of emails go back and forth.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
A lot of text messages and a lot of photographs are taken.
Do you ever have to bring in some like specialists too for, I don't know, say if there's like for wardrobe, like you need some kind of extravagant dress or
Yes,
something?
I have a couple ladies, Anne and I'm sorry, excuse me, Anne and Annette. Annette's in Stockton and Anne's in Sacramento. Those are my two. If I need something built or fixed or manipulated,
Yeah.
I go to one of these two ladies because they are expert costumers.
Awesome.
They're expert seamstresses too. I mean, they're not just costumers; they're seamstresses. They can build stuff from the ground up.
Wow. Yeah,
Sure.
that's a good resource. Hey.
So, because I did a film back in October called Trolls Anonymous, which is in post. Which post means it's being finished.
Mhm.
I had the gentleman who played the troll. I'm not going to reveal more than that. He had to have his vest let out.
He had to have his
Like
what?
his vest, his vest
Yeah.
let out because he gained weight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So I sent it over. So I had him meet up with Anne, and Anne let it out.
Oh,
Add a bunch of material to it. It looked beautiful. And so,
sick.
matter of fact, one of my actresses for completely loyal to me, she's been losing weight, and she's been trying to hold off ordering her dress, so it's not.
Oh,
So I talked to her the other night. I said, look, order it soon so we make sure we have it. I said, I can always call Anne to take it in. And
that's
she went, oh, great. That's perfect. Because these dresses of the early 50s, they were real not clingy,
mhm.
but they were very tapered, very,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I
That
love history. The reason why I love film and theater so much because it's history.
Exactly. We love history too. So, and any like
So
old-timey kind of movies or anything that kind of just gives you an idea of what life was like, before you were alive, like
yeah,
it's so fascinating. And then you can kind of just like live through, the screen, the movie. We love movies. So it's so cool to get to talk to someone who just is a part of that, and you're still, a part of it, and like have all these things coming up. And I watched your one of your live talks recently where you were talking about, all your projects, and you're
yeah.
like a really like active, creative, and visionary, and you're doing so much. So it's really cool to have you here to just talk about, all that kind of stuff, and like with the cooking, and we think you're really cool. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you again. No, it's and part of it. The reason why I stay so busy, especially with so many projects, because some people can't manage what I do. With
Yeah.
all the multiple projects.
Mhm.
And if they cook, they don't cook with the camera looking over their shoulder.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm going to say this because I believe this is important, but I live with mental illness. I'm bipolar and suffer from extreme anxiety.
Yeah.
I do the right things. I have a doctor, I have a therapist, I take medications daily.
Yeah.
And my therapist and I were just talking about this just the other day, that I have to stay busy or my mind will wander.
Yep. I feel
Um,
like that's kinda like us too, like, we really just need to stay busy, and that's why we have all these projects. Is it's like if we're just sitting around for a while, we just kinda get a little bummed out.
yeah, and COVID didn't help.
Oh, no, not at all. No.
I have friends, that I'm pretty close to, who were normal human beings, no hint of mental illness, and then COVID happened. They started working from home, so they weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And all this negativity that's on the TV and the news and all that, it gets inside of you.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the news for months
Yeah, we don't watch
because
news.
and I'm talking any news. I'm talking local news, national news, international.
Yep.
I tend to not watch it or listen to it.
Yeah, us either.
You know, and I've had to help some of my friends, with encouragement and you know just some simple advice.
Yeah.
I don't claim to be a doctor or a PhD or
We
anything
know
like
what
that,
helps
but
us,
I
right?
live that.
And if we know what helps us, we can always, help other people. I mean, that's what I do too. I mean, even for each other, I feel like, you know, even, with the whole like mental health thing with during COVID, I feel like even for us, especially like we've kind of, I mean, people think like we're young, like we're in our 30s, but since COVID hit, like we really had to slow down, and our health actually suffered. I feel like our health
Oh, it
just
did.
kinda just hit us like a truck, and we're like, "Whoa, like, what is going on here? Like, why are all these things happening? Why do we not feel good?" And it's just, I really feel like, the past year had you know, a lot to do with that.
It really did. It was really funny because my wife works for one of the counties, and the tears became really bad, she was sent home to work from home.
Mhm.
I work from home most of the time.
Yeah.
And about 2.5 weeks in, she finally came up to me and she goes, "How do you do it?" I'm like, "Do what? How do you work from home all the time?" She goes, "It's driving me crazy." I said, "You just get into a routine."
Yeah,
And
you're so important.
so she's found me back at her office and she's really happy about that.
Good. She
You know,
survived for long enough.
yeah, and she did. She was a good survivor. So, but no, it's been tough because the film industry and the live entertainment, especially the live entertainment industry, we got shut down.
Yeah.
There was no work. Now, in the last few weeks, there's been some cracks. We're starting to see a little more work coming through and coming out, and hopefully as time goes on, it just that crack gets bigger and bigger and bigger and becomes a door. That
Yeah.
the door is going to open up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel really bad for my live entertainment friends because they have no work
Yeah,
and
man.
there
So
is
many
nothing in sight.
there's so many different creative lanes where it's like some of us we're doing like really good because we don't necessarily need the outside world to do what we're doing, but then there's other people, in the live entertainment
Yeah.
industry, and it's just like, man, like they got hit really hard,
Yep.
because you're just so limited, like, and you're just kind of waiting around, and it's like, what can you do?
Like for me,
Stay inspired.
fortunately, I've got all this pre-production work I can do.
Hmm.
So when we can film, which we can now, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a lot better,
Hmm.
but there's so much but you can't really, you can do only so much pre-production in live entertainment, but not having a venue, not having an act. I mean, it's
Yeah.
very different.
No, totally. That's and it's I mean, what would you say, in that industry, like what percentage is like, hey, like you have to have, the place and the people? Is that like 50% of the work? How much is the prep work, and then how much is like the actual like work?
Wow. I want to say it's 50-50
Yeah.
because you have to have a successful like concert tour
Hmm.
or a play or a musical.
Yeah.
You've got to have damn good prep
Yeah.
and you got to have it's just like a film. You got
Hmm.
to have everybody in line because I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plays and musicals, and without all that rehearsal, without all the set building and the lighting design work and everything that goes into putting a show on, you don't have a good product.
Yeah.
And
There's
since everybody can't come together, like you can't rehearse.
hmm
I mean, you can rehearse via Zoom. I've done table reads via Zoom, but it's not the same.
no.
But we do it to get by. We do it to keep moving forward.
Hmm.
Um, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
We've I know in the live industry we've tried a couple different things, and um, last fall I was involved in a project that we took a play. There was only two people in it.
Okay.
We put three remote controlled cameras in the audience, and we did a live broadcast.
Oh, wow.
That was so much work because it's not like a live newscast where you got a cameraman. You know, you have to basically program those cameras where they're going to be at a certain spot in the script,
Oh, wow.
like anything else.
Man.
It took us literally days to get it dialed in. And then the actors had to be on their marks.
Uh-huh.
It was very rewarding.
Yeah. When it was done.
We were one of the first theaters to get it done.
Wow.
But then you had all the technical issues. How much bandwidth do you have? Do we have enough? You have the right microphones? Do we have, I was like, oh, it was one little hiccup after another.
Uh-huh.
Because stuff like this really hasn't been done. And we were doing it on a shoestring budget. It's very typical for live theater. Um, but overall, it turned out really well. And, I'm very proud of that project.
That's awesome. That's a
Uh,
that's quite an accomplishment, if you think about it.
I was the technical director for that show too. So I was involved in everything. I had all at one point for several weeks, I had all the equipment here in my house so I could test it and get it ready to move into the theater.
So you were
So yeah, my office was filled with equipment. And
you're
I
like,
was recording my cats and you know
That's what I'd be doing.
My cats are all hands, so.
Oh, I know. I saw that's the video I watched where you brought your little kitty cat. Was it Mika? Or not Mika? Oh, I'm thinking of something else.
Oh yeah,
What
yeah. That was Kiko.
Kiko. Okay.
That's my little blue-eyed wonder,
Oh.
little hunter.
Yeah. I know we just got well, we just rescued another kitty cat and
Oh,
he's a I believe he's like a red point something Siamese. So we got a Siamese kitty over here too, just a different kind.
I love Siamese.
So, and like one of the main reasons like I wanted to start this podcast was because, I really just wanted to bring on, inspiring people like you who, maybe even just have some advice for, anyone in maybe your industry or any industry or, if you can maybe think of anything from your past experiences that would maybe just give someone a little bit of hope.
I've got something for all artists.
Awesome.
Um, Never give up.
Yeah.
You never give up and give it 110% every time.
Yeah.
It might seem dark out there, it might seem bleak, but eventually you'll get noticed and you'll be working,
Yeah.
or your art will sell, or you know what I mean. I'm
Exactly.
talking all artists,
Hmm.
but never give up. Keep pushing forward
Yeah.
because these dark times, especially these dark times, they're going to end.
Hmm.
And for a painter, keep striving to do that gallery opening.
Yeah.
Make it happen. I have taken chances left and right. Sometimes it fails or semi fails, but a lot of times it happens. You have to make it happen. You have to believe in yourself.
Hmm.
You have to believe in your art. You have to believe in your talent, and you just got to make it happen.
Yeah.
Keep pushing forward. That's
Yeah.
the basics.
It's really, I mean, and we've been finding out more and more. It's like in everything that even I've done, I get frustrated a little bit sometimes, even because I feel like, man, like I've waited this long to kind of really just finally realize that if you want to do it, you can do it. There's nobody stopping you, but you. Like,
Right.
so
Well, and the thing is, especially, I know as a photographer
mhm.
and as a photographer and a chef, they're very similar. In the fact that we have an end product. Some people might not like what they eat from me. I'm hypercritical on myself, like any artist.
Oh yeah, we all are.
Oh, I don't look, believe it or not, I don't like cooking for people because, especially with my anxiety the way it is, you
Yeah,
know, I and photography. When I worked for Sacramento Theatrical Lighting, I was a big time photographer back then.
cool.
Big time. I was working a lot. Rob and I were doing a lot of traveling and up and down the coast and blah blah blah. And so I'd always take pictures and put them on my desk, the latest. And I actually got used to people giving me criticism. And I think that's a big thing is you have to be able to, what your work is worth,
Yeah.
to you inside.
Mhm.
But you have to be able to take that criticism because it's going to be constructive criticism.
Yep.
That was a big hurdle for me, back years ago. I'm still. It's hard to have your ego bruised a little bit.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
especially for,
I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But you have to, as you get older and wiser, you surround yourself with a group of friends and colleagues, people who have similar ideas, some who have different ideas, but especially in my entertainment world between film and theater, you become a family,
yeah.
and you're going to get a good vibe. Yeah, it's hard to say what I'm trying to say, but you have to surround yourself with good people.
Yeah. No, I totally
People,
get it.
people who are going to keep you lifted.
Yes. Yeah, and people who are, doing things and who are, taking risks and, know how, it feels to win and how it feels to fail, like, and are still going and are still, doing all the things that they're passionate about and
Because without my friends,
Mhm.
I couldn't accomplish what I do, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
You know, it's like sometimes I need to borrow equipment, or hey, I know you normally like to get paid for stuff, but can you do this one for free for me? That type of thing.
Yeah.
You make little deals, because, I donate a lot of my services.
Uh-huh.
Believe it or not, I do. Um, I'm not a big time Hollywood person, so, you know, I believe in giving back to my community.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, and Yuba Sutter is kind of weird. That's why I would rather work in Sacramento.
Yeah. Well, Sacramento's always booming, so they've always
Yep.
had a lot of cool things going on. I love following the things that go on out there and
Yeah.
just
The,
everywhere.
the the art scene in Sacramento is so vibrant.
It is.
It's just,
It's beautiful. I love it.
you know, I think there's more filmmakers per capita in Sacramento than there is in some other bigger cities.
Yeah. I
Um,
I'd agree with you.
so and that's where I get 99.9% of my work comes out of Sacramento region.
Yeah.
It's not coming from Yuba Sutter,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I know.
That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother
I
time.
know. We'll have to talk again. But, I don't know if you know this, but I've been living here, for 2 years. My husband, he grew up here, but, we're actually gonna be moving to up
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll be moving up there, and I mean, I know Nevada City is kind of close by. They seem kind of like an artsy town. Have you ever done any work
Nevada
out
City,
there?
Nevada City is a great art town. They really are. Very eclectic, very, but I love Nevada City.
So
I love
cute.
to spend time up there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. They've
It
got the
is beautiful up
trees.
there. That's God's country up there.
I think, what I would love to do, and I have a head full of ideas, but I really, I basically like who I am is like I'll do what I do, and wherever I am is where I am, and wherever I am, that's where I'll do what I do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I love creative people. I love, I'm really just, like today, just I'm honestly just trying to relationship build and just get to kind of know the people that are in the area because I mean, I know we're not going anywhere anytime soon. And if, hey, it's, the more people that that are like doing awesome things, it's like you never know. Like, down the road, it's like, hey, we might maybe be interested in making a film someday or maybe know someone or maybe we might need lighting or I really feel like my future I want to have creatives in my life, and whether that means I cultivate that and hopefully something good will come of that in the future, but I mean we just got 25 acres and I would love to do a lot of work with creative people up there in so many ways. So I'm so excited, just to get to know you because you seem like the guy, like you seem like the people out here and you are like part of the scene or am I wrong? Like I feel like you're kind of like that guy.
Um, I know a lot of people. Well, when you work in, like, let's say a community theater,
Mhm.
which I've done a lot of,
Mhm.
um, you're meeting, especially in community theater, because you're meeting people from all walks of life. They're not just actors or technicians or front of house people.
Yeah.
They have normal lives.
Yep.
They have jobs. They have families. You know, they they do community theater because they love theater,
Mhm.
because they love the sport of it,
Yeah.
if you want to call it that. And so they're doctors, lawyers, therapists, teachers, they come from all walks of life. So you may have other interests too, just like you have other interests. I have other interests. I'm a big cycling buff. I'm a NASCAR fan.
Cool.
It's, you know, everybody thinks, oh, you're a film guy. You're just a film guy. It's like, no.
You're like, I'm
But
so
back to
more.
but back to you're saying creatives are very unique
Hmm.
because creatives need to create.
Yeah.
But we know so many people.
Hmm.
I've been very fortunate, over my time here in California, that I have met some very wonderful people who I still call friends today, 30 some years later.
Yeah.
Um, and what brought us together was the art.
Hmm.
And it's like my wife, I had a very good friend of mine. I consider her family. I call her my big sis. She was a local director here in theater. She was a realtor. She actually helped us buy our house.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And she moved to Texas
Oh, right.
to retire.
Yeah.
So my wife is actually going on a trip with her next in a week.
Oh, how fun.
Even though we haven't done theater together in 4 years, she's still my big sis.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I talked to her yesterday, and she's like, "I need you to come up with some recipes for me when we're down in Belize."
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, but again, here is a realtor person who's done video, who's done a lot of tons of theater,
Yeah.
but she is still my friend first.
Exactly.
And I have friends all across the United States and the world that people I call friends that I've worked with either in the live entertainment industry or the film industry and even the food industry.
Yeah.
Because I was a full-time chef at one point.
Yeah, I really
So
feel like creatives, like I really strongly believe that like creatives need each other. Like
we do.
everything, even, to do whatever it is. It's like for a film, it's like, maybe you might need a painter, maybe you might need, well, of course you need like actors, but then there's like all these different things that also work together sometimes depending on the project or the people but then even just because I feel like creatives, like what we do is like a lot of what we do is just coming straight out of us, and it's like we can't do it alone all
No,
most of the time. I mean, if someone can, like, hey man, you're like a superhuman, but most of the time we can't. Like,
no, you can't. I rely on so many people. I have a very small staff on my next film. I have a small staff of about 6 people, and they're doing it for free. This we put this film together to have fun
yeah.
because of COVID. We were basically saying screw COVID. We're
Mhm.
going to do this film for fun,
That's
and
so
that's what we're doing. Um, so I have a crew. I have a staff of about 6 people, and we're just having a ball with it.
yeah.
We talk about once or so a week, about certain things and about the process, the checklist,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's artists need other artists. You've said it.
Yeah. We do. We need each other. And, that's why another reason why I started the 530 Creative Arts community was because I mean, want wherever I'm at, like I want to know like what's going on, like what are people doing? Like what are creative people doing in my area? Like, what like it inspires me to see other people doing things and like sharing what they're doing, even if it has nothing to do with me or my creative lane. Like it's still inspiring, and it still makes me want to keep pushing harder and like keep going after what I'm going after, seeing other creatives do that. So I really feel like creatives are really like we're like each other's fuel sometimes,
Yep.
even if we don't even realize it.
Well, because I know when I work with certain creatives,
Mhm.
to be quite honest, we're on a film. it makes me bring my A game. Makes me want to, because one, we're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Two, we're gonna make some great product.
Yeah.
The end film is gonna be great. And we but we but we tend to bring our A game or A plus game
Mm-hmm.
because you're working with somebody of the same quality or better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this little playful game of, okay, we got to make sure, you know positive energy breeds positive energy.
Yeah.
But when you work with people who are Debbie Downer, it brings everything down.
Oh yeah. It'll take the whole thing down.
And I've learned that, especially in film, because you don't it's not like theater where you can, you rehearse it for 6 to 8 weeks
Mhm.
and then put it on stage. In film, you got to get it done because time is money.
Yeah.
And yeah, film is a great way to relate to life, because you might have to work with people you don't like, but you do it anyway, and you make the best out of
Yeah.
it. It's always a great day when you can work with all your friends.
Yeah, exactly. And then thinking about it too, like in the film industry, like you're dealing with like creatives and like actors, but you're dealing with like emotional like beings. And I'm curious, like actors and actresses, like even though they can act, like I'm sure they have not perfect days sometimes too.
Oh yeah, some of the best actors I know that I work with have miserable lives. Just, I mean, because of life circumstances, not because they're miserable people.
Exactly.
But they turn on the switch and they're the character.
That's awesome.
And to me, because I'm not an actor, I've done little bit parts in film, but that's totally different.
Yeah.
But I see these actors who've got a lot of work to do in the film, and they could be having a miserable time in life at that moment. But when it's time to go to work, the switch gets flipped,
Hmm.
and then they're the character. You would never know that they have something going on in their life. Now, people do that who aren't actors, they do it in life all the time.
Hmm.
I used to do it, and I still do it, because unfortunately, our society, we all must be happy. We
Yeah.
can't show any negative emotion.
Right.
This is going a whole different direction than you were.
No, we could go in any direction we want. I literally like with this podcast, like I always just want it to be casual. And like I tend to be an overthinker. So what I have to do for myself is I have to not think at all and just kind of like let things be. And it always turns out better. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Like, I love it. I love this whole conversation and just like where everything is we've been everywhere, haven't we?
pretty much,
Yeah. All over the place.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Because especially here in America, society is like, you must be positive, you must be happy all the time. Well, when there's people like me who suffer every day,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm pretty good at turning the switch on,
Hmm.
but there's some people who can't turn that switch on.
So I taught paint parties for about a year. And that's when I learned to turn my switch on and off because here I am, one person running it's basically entertainment for like 20 to 40 people. Everyone wants to have a good time. Everyone wants to love their painting. There's all this stuff going on and I have got to be so damn happy. Like it doesn't even matter what has happened in my day. Like I am there and I have got to please about 40 different people.
Yep.
So I have learned to do that. But since not being under that kind of pressure anymore for so long, I feel like maybe I've lost that a little bit, especially in
Yep.
in my personal life, I get irritated and stuff like that too. But I could totally relate. Like there's some days where like I just can't. And it's like, you know, and my husband's so good. Like he'll know when I'm having, one of my days where I'm just like, look, like I don't know what's going on. Today is just not my day and I'm sorry. Just do not take anything personally. And then other days, like I'm great, and who knows,
Yeah,
I could probably be diagnosed with something, but and maybe someday I will. But for now, I just know that I have good days and bad days and I really have a hard time faking anything anymore.
yeah. Life is difficult enough. You know?
Mhm. Well, we've had such a cool conversation, and I'm again just thank you so much for just
Oh,
taking
you're
time out
most
of your
welcome.
schedule to just sit here and talk with me about your life and just everything. I think you're such a interesting human, and I hope we get to meet you in person someday. You seem
I
like a
would love that.
yeah, yeah. We'll definitely have to arrange something, and hey, maybe
Yeah,
trip to what was it called again?
Belize.
Wait, not Belize, the cooking store.
No, Belize. Oh, Chef Toys.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll let you know when we plan on heading out. Maybe you guys can meet us out there or something.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. Well, thank you again, Matthew. Oh wait, I did have a question because you refer to yourself as Ghost.
Correct.
So what should I call you?
Ghost.
Okay, Ghost. You got it.
There's a story behind that.
Okay, cool. Let's hear it.
Okay, the reason why I'm called Ghost is I was working in a theater, a large theater, and me and the director were in the house one day. We were going over some notes, just you know, sitting in there and just going over. She goes, you really need a nickname. And I'm like, what? Why? Because you can get around this theater so well. Nobody can hear you, nobody can see you, and you just pop up everywhere. She goes, how about Phantom? I'm like, no, I can't live up to Phantom. She goes, okay, I'll think about it. So a little time goes by and we're doing some more work and she goes, I've got it. I'm like, okay, what do you got? How about Ghost?
That's cool.
There it is.
Yeah.
So because I was on location a couple of years ago and there was myself, I was the gaffer, and I had another person on set who was the first assistant director. His name is Matt. And then we had a third Matt. I'm like, that's it. So I said, okay, from now on, call me Ghost.
Yeah. You're like, that got way too confusing.
Yeah, so one day on that same set, we had five Matt or Matthews.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And a friend of mine, I don't know if you've seen it or not yet, a friend of mine down in LA who's an actress shared a photo of me of a can of Ghost energy drink.
What?
There's a Ghost whiskey. There's a Ghost energy drink.
That is so. Have you tried either of them?
I've had the Ghost whiskey. It wasn't bad. It
Oh,
was pretty
okay.
good actually. I'll have to search the stores for this energy drink, or
That,
go to Amazon, see if Amazon has it.
right. I know Amazon has everything, man.
Pretty much.
And then I saw you're like a what is it you drink? You drink like you're like a brandy and cigar kind of guy, right? I
I
see.
am an Irish whiskey drinker. And
Okay.
I drink mostly Irish whiskey,
Uh-huh.
and I do drink bourbons and other things. Like every once in a while, I have a friend of mine or somebody will say, "Hey, have you tried this one?" So,
Yeah.
or if I see something interesting in the store, I like generally Irish whiskey, but I do drink bourbons and scotches. And I mean, I started drinking scotch, and then I switched to Irish because Irish is less expensive. And then I love cigars. It's just something. So since we have this beautiful outdoor furniture on our patio, it's like I am just going to take it. It's
Yeah.
because I can. Like I
Yeah.
posted yesterday, I'm going to take. I call it my 30-minute cigar. By the length, you can kind of gauge how long it's going
Okay.
to take to smoke. So I just been recently, and I've been recently posting, hey, I'm relaxing, bitches.
Yeah. You work all day and we've all got to have something. Hey, I mean, we don't drink a lot. I mean, we sometimes will have a glass of wine or something, but like I have to smoke weed. Like I don't care like who has anything to say about it. I'm like I like my sleep. I like to eat food and cuz sometimes with our health issues with everything we've been dealing with, it's like I mean, I lost like 30 pounds in like 2 months because
Oh, I hate you.
I couldn't eat, dude, but it was bad. Like it was
Should have
not,
got a hold of me.
I know.
You
But
should have got a hold of me.
oh man, well,
Next time, next time you can't eat, you get a hold of me so I can get you on a diet.
I know, I know. I was forcing stuff down, man. It was terrible. But that honestly got me through it. I could not have, eaten, any other way than by just smoking. And hey, I also, when I have a long day, like that's my celebration. That's my gift to myself.
Hey, I have a, I personally don't smoke,
Yeah.
but that's my choice.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've been involved in plenty of edibles. We've been out on set, literally camping on set, and the
Yeah.
edibles come out.
If I could eat edibles, more than cuz honestly, like I would prefer to eat edibles. They're just really expensive. And hey, maybe we can
Right.
talk about this some other time, cooking
Yeah,
with, like the butter and stuff like that. Like that's
yeah,
something I eventually see myself getting into just to kind of not, have to actually like inhale something, like it's
right.
just it's just better for you. Like I'm all about
Yep.
like health and, stuff like that. So anything I can do that helps me that would be a little bit better for me, I'm all for.
Bonus.
Yes, exactly. Well, oh, also before you go, I wanna could you just tell everyone, like your socials, like everything, all your stuff. Just lay it all out there for people and then I can put something
Uh,
at the
it,
bottom.
it's really simple. I don't do Instagram. I barely do Twitter. But my best, the two groups in Facebook that you want to get a hold of me in
Mhm,
is Garage Studio Production Services
mhm.
is for Facebook, and Casual Chef's Kitchen for the kitchen for the chef stuff.
Yes.
And my email address is ghost.gsps@gmail.com.
Perfect. There we go. Thank you so much, Ghost,
My
and
pleasure.
I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
Okay, Martina.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Thanks for watching this week. Catch next week's episode of Take Aim Podcast with PJ Kennedy, a Northern California metal artist. You can find PJ on Instagram at PFE_works. Remember to hit like and subscribe for new episodes each week. See you next time.